Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and so here we are for, I guess, part 2, I don't know what you would call this, but the second of the new Triple Poke Fair. Featured scouts that are going to be dropping, alongside the characters getting their EX rolls. In this case, it is, I believe it's just N, yeah, and just N getting his EX roll. He is getting Strike, this is a Strike banner, Kabu, Sygna Suit Roxie, and Sygna Suit N. Not a bad banner in terms of value, honestly. Like, Roxie's amazing, obviously. Kabu, one copy. I mean, Kabu's not great, but one copy you can get him in the trainer lodge, and that can get you some rewards, so that's something. And Sygna Suit N, honestly, with the EX roll investment, does get a lot better. Like, the Striker EX roll does help him quite a bit, both in terms of damage for the stat increases and also in terms of his nuke now being AoE. And I guess we'll look at him first. So, Sygna Suit N. He is a character that released back in November of 2022. Yes, 2022. And he was made fun of a lot, which is fair, frankly, but poor guy, whatever. Anyway, so with max investment now, with the Striker EX roll investment, he's got 593 attack. God damn, that's a lot of attack. 851 health, 227 defensive still, 395 speed. Good stats all around. Like, these are good stats for a Striker character. You realize, though, his stats are so high because he's got Freeze Shock as a DPS option. 4 gauge, 330 power, he gets ready to attack, and the move, whatever, 30% chance to paralyze, and no other actions can be taken while ready to attack. So, it's a 330 power move, that's 4 gauges, but it is a 2-turn move. This move takes a turn to charge up and a turn to use, which does cut the power of it a lot, but thankfully, it's not horrible considering N's got now a bigger attack buff to work off of, and he's also got a sync acceleration via 2 prepared 9, which reduces sync countdown by 2 when an attack move which was conducted after leaving the counter-attacking position is successful. So when he gets ready to attack, he can't take an action besides use Freeze Shock, uses Freeze Shock and gets -2 sync countdown, which helps make sure your sync countdown's good, and also just makes it a lot smoother. He's also got Ice Beam, which is not really a great damaging option. This is mostly here for freeze chances. That's mostly it. He's got Resonating Noble Roar. Okay. Buddy, Noble Roar. One of the best buddy moves in the game. I'm kidding. This is a horrible buddy move. It never misses, lowers enemy attack, special attack and speed by 2, applies super effective next, applies free moves next to the user, and increases physical moves next by 1. Not a horrible horrible buddy move, the buddy move should have frankly just been Freeze Shock, if we're being honest, but how do I word this? The debuffs are fine. It's the fact that you cannot use it except like once in a blue moon. Again, this is activated whenever he gets ready to attack, and it's deactivated when it's used. So you have to use it pretty much after using Freeze Shock. And also, the way this guy's kit works is that you're pretty much forced to use this ability in a lot of stages, I guess. Because if he's going to be your main sync nuker, then you're going to have to work around 3 turns of sync acceleration. That's kind of the point I'm going to get at here. Because, obviously, there's 9 rotations of sync acceleration, right? Your other allies are going to be using them, and N's going to be using them. He uses Freeze Shock, which takes up 2 turns, and then he's got 1 turn left before having to use a sync move, which he has to queue up literally anything else. Because, again, if you use Freeze Shock and you want to nuke with N, then you can't queue it up, or else you won't be able to nuke with him, and even if you do, I don't think you can, but even if you do, you would then lose the ability to use Freeze Shock afterwards, right? You would lose the ability to finish the attack, and you would have to start over from the beginning. That's more so something that is easier to explain in-game than in this situation, but point being, you pretty much have to use this buddy move, which is good for, debuffing stats, free moves next, super effective next, physical moves next, or whatever, right? But those effects are not that great when you consider this means that N can only use his damaging move once per sync cycle on top of his sync nuke. That's not that great. So you're pretty much just trying to enhance it as much as possible, but this enhancement is not enough to consider his DPS to be quote-unquote good, especially with how the gimmick works. That is his biggest issue. Anyway, whatever. My formula: raises attack and special attack by 4, raises crit by 3, good self-sufficiency, and his trainer move, in a sync move effect, lower and more enemy attack is lower the greater the power of the attack, so innate pecking order. Yeah, that one. He's also got Piercing Blows, which horse gimmick check. That's nice to have. Again, good legendary gauntlet ability for sure, and be able to hit through an enemy like if they need a status condition or a status change or something, it's good to hit through that. Though granted, he can apply status conditions anyway, so whatever. Anyway, he's also got, again, 2 prepared 9 as stated. He reduces sync countdown when using freeze shock, so it doesn't mess with sync acceleration. And he's also got hostile environment 1 for heightened freeze and paralysis chances. Because, sure, why not, right? You can get those paralysis, yes. You can get the paralysis and the freeze. That's nice to have. At 1 out of 5, N's not great. He really wants dupes. The DPS is not fantastic, even with full investment. I mean, it's fine, and you can definitely make it work, but he really does want dupes. Like, let's be honest, I probably will end up summoning on this banner simply because I think I want better investment on my N. He does get a lot better with, like, 3 out of 5 and 4 out of 5 investment, though. Up to 3 out of 5, he gets Dirty Sync 6, Demoralizing Sync 6, Head Start 1, Hostile Environment 2, Piercing Gaze, Sync Nodes, Sync Damage Guard, some things like Berserker 2, and also Training the Ramp Up, and a few other things, but those are the big ones there. I guess Pinpoint Entry 1 as well for easier landing and free shock, because if this misses, my god, that's funny. That's one thing to add. This move can miss. With that accuracy buff, it can miss. So Piercing Gaze helps out with that. Though you're probably not going to ever pick that up, frankly. Anyway, Dirty Sync 6 and Demoralizing Sync 6. This gives you 120% multipliers plus Pecking Order for 220% Sync Nuke multipliers. This gives him a good Sync Nuke, a good Striker Sync Nuke with nearly 600 power, right? 600 attack, 380 sync power from the Tech EX function plus the sync nodes. He's going to be able to do a very good Striker nuke, and that's definitely where the best upgrade from the Striker EX roll came from, and that's really what he has going for him now, is that his sync nuke is good, and it can kind of make up for his middling damage, or at least it tries to. Does it work successfully? I guess we'll have to find out, but it does help out. It really does. It makes him look a lot better. So, and plus these are easy to activate. He just needs special attack debuffs, and he just needs a status condition, both of which he does via the buddy move, which sucks, and the free shock, of course, right? So, or well, I guess also ice beam, but mostly free shock for consistent paralysis, right? I would not rely on his buddy move to be able to debuff attack super effectively. You definitely want a support character to do that, and again, one of the best characters to probably enhance him is going to end up being like Arc Suit Steven, and physical moves next, defensive debuffs, attack debuffs. Arc Suit Steven's going to be a good character to activate all of his multipliers, other than paralysis, which he can do himself. So that is something to consider. Again, with Hostile Environment 2 as well, because you pretty much have to pick it up if you're going to go for Dirty Sync, though you can pick up Ice Beam Gauge Refresh, I guess. It is something just worth considering. Especially because you can already make this grid if you want to and get N maxed out. So, yeah. Anyway. And that is mostly what N's got going for him at 4 out of 5. The Sync Nuke is really the big thing. He also gets a little bit of extra utility again. Piercing Gaze from Never Missing, same thing with Pinpoint Entry, similar case rather. Ice Beam super effective 9 if you're going to be hitting Ice Weak content. You can work with that, especially with extra energy investment. I guess self-sufficiency in his offensive stats as well, though I don't think these are really too needed. Sync Damage Guard could be helpful for taking a powerful attack, but for the most part, it's probably these nodes that are the biggest. And 4 out of 5, he gets Peak Readiness, which increases physical moves next when he takes up a counter-attacking position. Combine that with Noble Roar's physical moves next, and he can actually get some pretty good damage off of Free Shock. Just again, you're doing it once pretty much every 3 turns, which does really, really suck quite a lot. Poor guy. Poor guy. He also gets Team Fast Track 9 at 4 out of 5, which helps with gauge efficiency. Mostly gauntlet stuff, but you can use it elsewhere too. Maybe find usage for it if you're running him alongside like Arc Suit Steven. Though honestly, running him with Arc Suit Steven, you've got gauge efficiency anyway because N gets free moves next when using Resonating Noble Roar, and it doesn't cost gauge anyway, and he's only using Free Shock once per turn, probably. So again, with like a character like Arc Suit Steven, this probably isn't necessary, but if you do need gauge efficiency, he can work with that. 5 out of 5, Soften Up 1 has become quite a bit more valuable now because he's got the Striker EX roll, so that's multiple enemies he can miss a crit on, so being able to mitigate that is nice, so it's good to have that. And he's also got Ready for Anything 5, reducing damage when hit by a move while in the counter-attacking position. Again, a little bit more help here for being able to take damage. Like if you get in that counter-attacking position right as the enemy uses a sync move, he's going to be able to mitigate that damage a lot. So it does help out with his sustainability, considering his defensive stats are not super amazing, but they are sufficient, right? So overall, Sygna Suit N, he's lacking on the damage front because of how gimmicky he is and how gimmicky his buddy move is, but his Sync Nuke is good and has the potential to be very strong, and it's pretty much the best buff he could have gotten to actually increase his damage because mostly everything else would not have helped him that much. Sprint would have been that great. Support would have... I mean, that maybe would have helped him, like, the Legendary Arenas or something, I'm sure. But other than that, I mean, this helped his prowess elsewhere, which is fair enough. So, overall, not a bad buff for him, and he's not a bad character if you want to invest in him up to, like, 3, 4, 5 out of 5, right? Kabu. Okay, so, Kabu is a support character that is pretty weird, frankly. He's got pretty good stats with max investment. He's got 356 defenses, 845 health, 434 attack, 337 speed. He really wants to have enemies trapped because his activation condition for his buddy move is when there's a trapped enemy, and his buddy move removes frozen status from himself. He has a 10% chance to burn, restores HP of all allies when the target is burned, and restores ally of all HP when the target is trapped. This makes him and Kiawe, Variety Kiawe, a good combo, which I actually... And there's someone who's put a video out about that, and them beating ultimate battles. If you all want to go watch that, I'll try to remember to put it in the description. We'll think about it. Maybe remind me. But that was honestly pretty funny. But he does really benefit from a character that can apply burn and trap, and have his buddy move, again, be activated, and apply a lot of healing to the team. That's one of the big things he's got, is this healing. Like, this healing is really, really good. He's got Protect for Damage Guard Ember for a 10% chance to burn. Yeah. My lord. He's got Get Your Mind moving, his trainer move, which raises defenses of allies by 2 and raises his fire type rebuff by 1. Taking fire attacks, he's going to be effective at that, but honestly, that's not really that great. There's not too many fire enemies he can face that he's super good at facing. I think Annabelle has immunity, so to some of these status changes or status I think, does Annabelle have burn immunity? I'm not actually sure. I think she does. Not 100% sure. Anyway, it's fine. He can raise fire rebuff. Does help for taking like fire damage. That's something. On his skills, he's got passive skills. He's got max move, team attack, and special attack up 4, raising ally special attack and attack by 4 after using the max move. And the max move is his method of trapping enemies, because G-Max Centiskorch. Love that. He's leaving enemies trapped, which is going to activate the buddy move, and it's going to be able to help with team healing and like doing some damage, considering his offensive stat here. And again, after that, he's getting ally attack and special attack buffs. He's also got team crit buffs here as well, with +3 crit to all allies on using the status move, which is Protect. So you do have to utilize your max move, which could have good utility otherwise, and your sync damage guard, or rather your damage guard, to get crit buffs and offensive buffs. So his ability to be a support kinda is middling, other than his defensive buffs for the team, because you have to utilize some of his other abilities, which could be good to like wait and use. So if you want to use them early on, you're kind of wasting their potential to be used later on, and that's something that's not great, but he can work around it for sure. He's got Hot to the Touch 9 with a 100% chance to leave the enemy burned when the user's hit by an attack move, so of course that's going to be helping for the healing on the buddy move, but again, for the buddy move to be activated, you do need to consider you need a trapped enemy. So again, using G-Max Centiskorch is really your only way to do that, or bring a character that can trap. Again, similar to that, like Variety Kiawe. Oh, so funny. That's mostly what he's got going for him there. I mean, he's a fine support. I don't think he's crazy, though. Like, his healing is very reliant upon enemies being trapped, which kind of sucks, but it's not the worst thing in the world. You can definitely work around it, and it's good healing, especially considering with dupes, he's got Trainer with Hit and Heal, applying gradual healing to all allies, meaning that if you can get that gradual healing, and you can get the 2 instances of healing from the enemies being trapped and burned off of his buddy move, you've got like 3 ticks of healing per turn, which is like 20% or so healing pretty much every single turn, and that can be really good. That is really good healing, and that's his really good potential. Makes him good in like Legendary Arenas, considering he can also do damage, and also good pretty much in a lot of situations as long as you can get those conditions activated. But the big part is that he doesn't have much else outside of that to really enhance team damage or be a good support, like potions or whatever, which is what makes options like obviously Champion Blue, Arc Suit Steven, or whoever just better, is because Kabu kind of wants to try and act as a like general supportive character, but these other characters are far better at that, and he's not hyper specific either, like Sygna Suit Roxie or something, where her enhancement with the partners that she really enhances is also really good, for example. But at the very least, Kabu still gets that healing. That is one of his biggest unique factors, is his healing, his ability to do like 3 different ticks of healing for the whole team, that's very, very strong, of course, right? Other than that, he does have Trainer with NPR, buffing defenses to the max, Fire type rebuff to the max, as well as more instances of gradual healing. Debut physical moves next, not really that great, but I mean, sure. Haymaker, if you do want to nuke with him, not really something I would do, or try to do, but I mean, it's something that they try to get you to aim to go for, I guess. There are instances where it can be helpful. Again, like you could try and make him legitimately do damage, and you could make it work. But again, for the most part, not going to be doing a crap load of damage. It's just more of something that is there. He's also got Flag Bearer 9. This can help you potentially preserve the max move. If you do want to buff just physical attack, you can do it over using Flag Bearer or by using Flag Bearer. Those attack buffs are nice. And this could also max out your attack faster if you do want to use it in conjunction with the max move. So that is also good. That's good to know. Impervious for stat debuff immunity is always helpful. Sync damage guard for damage guard on using a sync move could be useful for taking some high powered attacks. But again, mostly he probably will be fine. He doesn't have immediate healing via like potions. Oh, okay, actually he does get first aid 4 here. So first aid 4 is nice, but he doesn't really have anything outside of that other than the gradual healing for, again, immediate healing purposes. But this can help you mitigate that damage a little bit. He also has Healing Sun. So again, if you want to try and run him like a Sun character like Sygna Suit Morty or whatever, he has so many different ticks of healing like 30% HP every turn. That's going to be pretty crazy, honestly. He's also got Vigilance for crit protection. Again, you can run a different lucky skill, maybe like Defense Crush or Mind Games to enhance team damage with his more general supportive type of abilities. You can just make him, I guess, better at that role. Again, Defense Crush, Mind Games could be good. And that's mostly what he's got. He mostly is trying to aim to enhance his healing a little bit, his defensive utility a little bit, and also, I guess, his buffing a little bit. Like, he does a little bit more here with 3 out of 5. Nothing, like, super crazy, but it does help out, right? The gradual healing for the team's nice. The Flag Bearer is nice. All of this stuff is nice. But nothing, like, absurd, I would say, that really propels him to different levels of strength. Anyway. At 4 to 5, he gets Overwhelm 9 for debuffing attack. This makes his physical defensive prowess a lot better. Buffing his physical defense, debuffing attack, fiery buff, healing, yada yada. He could take physical attacks very well. That's something. And again, it also helps the team take physical attacks. Sadly not AoE, so you will have to rely on this being pretty much single target, but oh well, not that big of a deal, I guess. He's also got Team Max Sync, Physical Boost 9, increasing physical moves next by 1 after using the Sync move or Max move. So that's good, honestly. I think this does give you, this gives you both. So more physical moves next on using the Sync move and Max move is nice. If you do consider trying to use his Sync move multiple times, again, for that like Haymaker damage or whatever, this can enhance his damage, and it can enhance the team's damage, of course, every cycle of using a Sync move, right? So that's something. He's also got, again, at 5 out of 5, first aid 4 for 40% healing, and also max countdown 2 for a little bit of sync acceleration. Combine that with Adrenaline 1, or Head Start 1, whatever, or something like that, and you can get some good sync acceleration in. That's not bad. And again, first aid 4 for that immediate healing is legitimately helpful. Kabu's a weird support, for sure. He's a weird support character that does have good usage, and you can make him work via his unique abilities, but it's something that will probably require, or really prefer, a lot of like thinking into it, or like thinking about your team, really. He's not a support that's like, oh, let's just chuck him on the team, and the team is immediately good, or something like that. He's a support that takes a little bit of effort to kind of try and use, timing maybe your usage of trap, and all of that for activating the buddy move, and also the team composition for getting that trap or sun or whatever it may be, right? Still though, definitely not a bad support character. Definitely, he can work for sure. And the final one, definitely the best of the bunch, Sygna Suit Roxie, crazy powerful character. With max investment, she's got 840 health, 224 defenses, 521 special attack, and 409 speed. Very good stats all around. She's a tech character. She's got Frenzied Sludge Wave, her main form of damage, which is a 2-gauge move. It's activated when there's an enemy with a status condition on the opponent field of play. Lowers target special defense by 2, 10% chance to leave the enemy poisoned, and the attack's power is increased by 50% when in electric terrain, which she can set. She wants to work pretty well with Sygna Suit Pierce, and they do work relatively well with each other for sure, but well with each other for sure. But she also works very well by herself. Because this move, it gets very good power when in electric terrain, but it's also very good by itself. 230 power is absolutely absurd. 240 at max investment, yeah. That's already an absurdly strong buddy move to be using for sure, so this is good. And again, the debuffing of special defense helps enhance damage even further. She's got electric terrain to enhance her electric partners you may want to run with her, but mostly for herself, right? Overdrive if you do want to actually do legitimate electric damage, which you can. And poison on stage. Her trainer move, applying gauge acceleration, raising special attack by 4 and raising crit by 3. Full self-sufficiency in her offensive enhancement. And again, the gauge acceleration 2 is nice. She's also got max moves, max ooze being able to buff ally special attack by 2 for max special attack, and G-max stun shock for leaving all enemies poisoned or paralyzed, whichever you prefer to do. Well, not really prefer, but whichever lands, it's random, right, between the enemies. And that is how you activate her buddy move, getting that status condition in. She's got her passive skills Amped and Vibed, which turns field of play into Poison Zone when using the max move and extends Poison Zone while it's on the field of play. This is a good ability for sure, but also consider that in order to actually use her buddy move, you need to actually have used her max move pretty much, or have an ally that can set that same status condition. So just consider that you have to kind of play around that, and that will also set Poison Zone. So yeah, she does work with partners like Gita and Champion Iris pretty well. Not Champion, Fall Iris pretty well because of their Poison Zone setting abilities, and again, she also is extending it, so she's a good partner for those types of characters. It does help. Turbocharge 3 as well, applying gauge acceleration, or more gauge acceleration when the field's electric terrain. This is just a little bit better of a reason to use electric terrain, though still not that big of a reason. But of course, electric terrain's big usage is from being able to apply that extra damage on the buddy move. And then hit poisoned opponent attack and hit paralyzed opponent special attack down. Guaranteed attack and special attack debuffs when attacking a poisoned, attack debuffs when attacking a poisoned opponent, and special attack debuffs when attacking a paralyzed opponent. So she's got good debuff potential outside of the special defense buffs, giving you good tanking damage, the ability to take damage well, and ability to enhance damage well, all being AoE as well because the move is AoE. That's pretty good, honestly. That is pretty good to consider. So even just at 1 out of 5, she's pretty strong looking. A very strong buddy move, a very high offensive stat with debuffs, extra power when in electric terrain, and also offensive debuffs as well, and Poison Zone extension and setting. Not too bad. The only real complaint, of course, is that for Poison Zone, this is her only method of setting it. So you do want to run her with a partner that can set Poison Zone to really enhance her damage even more. Or, of course, you can run her with, like, Oleana or someone like that who can apply Poison Rebuff. Just a consideration. And, of course, with dupes, she's going to be even better, right? She's got Poison Zone extension 2, 20% extension for Poison Zone on top of what she's already got, just making it so you don't have to set Poison Zone as much. Helps out her partners, helps out her, obviously. She's got first sync move Poison Zone here, which I think is a 4 to 5 tile? No, 3 to 5 tile. So she also has more Poison Zone via this node as well. That is helpful. This does make it so you don't have to set it as often with other allies, or you could potentially even sacrifice bringing other allies because of this. You can get extended Poison Zone this way, and maybe have to forego bringing your allies, and that's not horrible. Having to potentially being able to potentially run another character that benefits more off of what she has, and not have to run another Poison Zone setter. Hit poisons opponent's special moves up 1/3, 40% chance of special moves next when attacking a poisoned enemy. That's pretty good, especially considering that she can also attack multiple enemies that are poisoned. This will give you even higher chances of special moves next, and potentially multiple special moves next, which that's really, really strong. Extra damage enhancement for her already really ludicrous damage move. That's very nice. And Brain Teaser, same thing. 30% multiplier for special defense debuffs. Very, very easy. Very, very strong. She also has Sinking Induction. This is her big reason to use Electric Terrain other than the Power Buff for Sludge Wave, because you will also be getting a 100%, well, 90% Sync Nuke multiplier out of it. On top of her innate of having Smarty Pants, 190% in Sync Nuke multipliers. For being a Strike Tech character, that's pretty good. It's not like the best Tech Nuke in the game, but it is really strong nonetheless. Other than that, she does also have some things like Overdrive. Poison Zone moves up 3 for a 30% multiplier for Overdrive when in Poison Zone, a Stun Shock power buff, a Max Ooze power buff, and a few other tiles as well, like Electric Terrain and PR. That's also not too bad to go for to maintain the extra damage and maintain the sync damage too. With extra dupes outside of that, 5 out of 5, she has Venomous Sync all 9, leaving all enemies badly poisoned after using the user's sync move. This does mean that if you prefer to, you can forego using the max move earlier on in the battle, and you can rely on poisoning all enemies on her sync move instead, which is not a bad idea because, again, the more you attack poisoned enemies, the more you get those special moves next buffs, and having poisoned enemies means you're guaranteed physical attack buffs, debuffs for the enemy, so you know what debuffs you're getting. It's not random. Well, it's not random between having to use the max move, right? So that's good too. And again, also if like enemies get rid of their status condition, you can put it back. That's also a good thing to consider. Shock take free before as well for free moves next when attacking a paralyzed opponent. Again, if you do want paralysis or something like that, and you do need that free moves next, that can be helpful too. Not bad for like the legendary gauntlet or something. And 5 out of 5, she gets Sync, Max Move, Special Moves next 2 for increasing her special moves next, increasing her special moves next after using the Sync move or Max Move. That's pretty good. This is, again, similar to that of like Eriott Suit Cynthia's buff, where she gets physical moves next after using her Sync move. Roxie benefits in a very similar way, where she's going to be having a very, very strong buddy move right after using the Sync move from that special move next, and Max Move as well, right? And then electric terrain propulsion 9 for some sync acceleration. If you do want to run her with some sync ramping characters or make usage of sync ramping abilities, you can do that too. But again, Roxie is a very, very good damaging character. Her buddy moves got amazing power. Her sync nuke's very strong as well. She's got the ability to set poison zone and electric terrain, debuff stats. Very, very strong character. Good damage, and overall not a bad banner. Kabu's good for, at the very least, you get him in the lodge, and of course the healing abilities. If you do want to make usage of him, you can make that work. Sygna Suit Roxie is very, very strong overall for enhancing poison and electric types, but also being really, really strong in her own right. And then Sygna Suit N, he did gain the Striker EX roll, did help him out with his nuking potential and damage as a whole, and overall makes him a little bit better. Definitely he needed the buff for sure. But yeah, overall that's my thoughts about this Striker EX roll, Pokefair banner, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'll see you all later. I hope you all enjoyed Good Luck on your summons, and I guess we'll finish up with the final video. Peace.